Not at all beautiful, you understand, but you have a certain prettiness. Different from my other heads. I believe I'll lock you in the tower for a few years till your head is ready. And then I'll take it.
I believe you will not!
All right, we took a little siesta, and now we're fresh and ready to get to the next movie on our list, which is Return to Oz. Had either of you heard of this movie before?
No.
Okay.
I had heard of it, but I had never seen it.
I'd heard of it, and I also heard the words fever dream associated with it. So I was kind of
Really?
interested to see just how disturbing it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
This movie is definitely meant for kids, though.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, it's released in 1985, directed by Walter Murch, who you guys might be familiar with. He's a famous editor. He wrote In the Blink of an Eye, a famous book about editing films. I think this was his directorial debut. There's 2 DPs listed, David Watkin and Freddie France. Freddie France is uncredited. I don't know why.
Freddie France.
And written by Walter Murch and Gil Dennis. This film is noticeably darker than the 1939 film that came before it with Judy Garland. Very happy, very bright, very nice. This one's very dark, and possibly that's why it underperformed at the box office, but it also gained some cult status. So there's some people who still love this. It's a beloved movie to some people who saw it as a kid and loved it. But I think adults saw it and they're like, that's too disturbing. For one thing, we start... Now, Dorothy in this depiction is about 12 years old, so she's more accurate to the books. And she's just on Aunt Em's farm, and it's post-tornado. You know, they're still rebuilding the home. And her aunt and uncle are like, well, there's something wrong with Dorothy. She keeps talking about this imaginary world that does not exist. Oz doesn't exist. And she's like, no, it happened and all this stuff happened. They're like, where's your ruby slippers? She's like, they fell off my feet. Which is something that happened in the books. But
Makes sense that the ruby slippers wouldn't come home with you.
right.
Yeah.
But like to show just how dark it is, Dorothy is about to go into electroshock therapy. She's hooked up to the machine. This movie,
turn of the century style.
the movie is set in 1898, which we both double check because
No, it was 2 months before 1900.
So 1899, something like that.
I wrote it down.
It's the 1800s.
It's 1899.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's around the time of the book, the original publication of the book, and
winter's coming.
And winter is coming.
Winter is coming.
And
the house isn't finished.
the house isn't finished. It sounds like a terrible time all along. But they sent her to basically a shrink, and a late 1800s shrink.
Yeah.
Basically,
Ugh.
she's in this little home for girls that definitely has screaming in the basement. And this terrible, horrible doctor hooks her up to a machine with electrodes on her head. And she's about to be shocked.
He puts them over her ears, which
yeah,
upsets
yeah.
me more so. I'm like, oh my god, you're gonna shoot they look like headphones.
Yeah, they
But
do.
yeah, I feel like what I've heard about mostly with this kind of thing is that it would go
it goes on your temples.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's upsetting either way,
Yeah,
but for some reason the ears made me more upset.
So I don't know how much came from the books, but they were trying to be more book accurate in a lot of what's depicted here, which is funny because a lot of the weird choices, it's like, oh, that was the character from the book or something. This was based on the books Ozma of Oz and The Land of Oz. So like I told you, he wrote 14 books. These were 2 of them. And they blended the stories from both. So a little girl rescues her. She rescues her from this place. You know, there's a big storm going on outside. The machine's shut down. The doctor leaves the room. This girl comes in the room. She's a little bit older. Very nice girl. And she's like, come on, let's run. So naturally what they do is they run out into the storm. And they end up in a river. And the blonde girl who saved Dorothy, she disappears because reasons. She's just gone. Don't worry. She'll be back.
Okay.
But not
I just
yet.
wanna make sure.
Not yet. No, there were no deaths yet. And Dorothy is swept away in the river and eventually lands in what looks like she's in the middle of the ocean just floating on some driftwood. And then eventually it's a pond. And then who appears with Dorothy? Which makes no sense. Erica has strong
I'm
feelings about this.
disgusted. Bellina, the chicken from the farm, where There was a brief scene where Dorothy was talking to Belina on the farm and saying, you have to lay an egg, otherwise Aunt Em's gonna turn you into dinner.
Yeah, yeah, they're gonna cook her.
So
They're
she's
gonna
like
cook the chicken.
talking to this chicken about how she needs to start laying eggs again.
Yeah.
But
the
somehow,
chicken shows up.
inexplicably,
Somehow
the chicken
the-
is the one that goes with her instead of Toto.
Yeah, so no Toto in this movie. Toto's in the beginning.
He exists,
Toto's in
but
the
he doesn't
beginning.
go to Oz with her.
But he doesn't go to Oz.
Okay.
The chicken, who was not with her in the river, doesn't make any sense in the Oz logic. The chicken appears with her,
or
and
other
now
logic.
the chicken can talk.
What?
Because animals in Oz can talk.
Okay.
So that's where I wrote, because the chicken makes a bunch of really half funny jokes.
Yeah.
I said it's the comedy stylings of Billina the chicken.
Yeah.
Because she'll just make comments like they see some headless statues and the chicken's like, well, that's irresponsible. Like, what? That doesn't make any sense.
This stupid chicken.
She had strong feelings about the chicken.
Like, she talks about some food and she's like, glad it's not fried chicken.
I'm like,
Looks like it was a rough trip. It's like all these one-liners that are just like the dumbest thing anyone could think to have anyone say. I was so annoyed.
Yeah.
That is,
yeah. So and now Dorothy gets another cast of characters. So the story is she comes to Oz. Oz is in trouble, right? There's a evil force that has turned all of her friends that she knew into stone. So the Scarecrow, the Lion, the Tin Man, they're all turned to stone in the city. She eventually meets Jack Pumpkinhead, which is basically a Scarecrow-like character, but he has a pumpkin for a head. He's kind of goofy. And she meets, oh my God, who am I forgetting? Not the Tin Man. He's a robot. He's like a soldier for Oz.
Oh,
What is he called?
TikTok.
TikTok. That's right. Wow. Hey, TikTok. Interesting.
Spelled just like
the
the social media app.
She meets TikTok, and he helps when she winds up his gears and stuff so he can work again.
Yeah.
He helps her fight off different monsters and things, because there's some crazy, like, really off-putting monsters in this movie.
Yeah.
There's the Wheelers, which are just these circus-looking freaks with wheels on their hands and feet that wheel around.
It looked like that was kind of fun to do, though.
It probably was.
From a production standpoint, like,
It's like-
I would have been stoked to be one of the wheelers.
Really
Yeah.
extreme roller skating. It's just your whole body.
Yeah, like hands and feet. Yeah, all at the same time.
It's off-putting, though. I will give it that.
Yeah. Stilts was one of my favorite things from theater camp, so I feel like I would have
Yeah.
enjoyed being a wheeler.
And also you have...
But yes, creepy.
You have two main villains in this story, too. So you have the Nome King, not spelled the way you think it is. He's basically made of rock, and his idea is that more people he traps, the more human he can become. But when you see him, he's just claymation rocks, and it's really interesting. The claymation they did in this movie was really well done.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
agree.
It was
I
well
liked
done.
it.
They had shots of claymation where the rocks are talking and stuff, and it's stop motion, but there's firelight dancing across it at the correct timing. So the fire is at 24 frames per second, and then the claymation is at like 12 frames a second. That had to be hard to figure out.
Yeah.
And I found out a lot of this
Yeah.
because I watched a video by VFX Artists React, the Corridor crew. They went over this movie, and this is actually how I knew this movie existed.
Oh.
And yeah, I'll show you another clip they reacted to later because it was really well done.
Wow.
Honestly, the production design was great. And then the other evil characters, there is an evil witch, and I think Mombi, which is
And
a
she's
great
from
name.
the book.
She is from the book.
from one of the books.
Princess / witch Mombi is from the book. And when she meets her, she's just this beautiful woman, like playing a mandolin or a sitar or something. I don't know what instrument that is, but it's very beautiful.
It looks like a mandolin.
Very ethereal.
Yeah.
And then she's like, oh, you're such a lovely thing. Here, let me show you something. She takes her into a back room, and then you see all these severed
Never go to a
heads.
second location.
Never go to, exactly. This is kidnapping 101. Never go to a second location.
Also a good rule for a night out.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you don't want to get blackout.
She shows her, and there's all these severed heads in this hallway. They're all in display cabinets. It's beautiful. And they're all alive. They're all looking at her, just like watching her, very quiet, very serene. And she's like, number 4 will do. So she takes off her head and replaces it with number 4. They're all different actresses, these heads.
She has 31
Yeah.
heads to choose from on any given day.
Oh my.
And one of them is hers.
One of them is her original
one.
head, but she keeps that locked up because it's not as pretty. She wants the pretty ones.
She also keeps it behind a mirror. Like all the other ones are in
Did
glass.
they say how she gets the heads?
Magic.
They didn't go too
There's a
too
powder of
deep with
life
that.
involved. So when they see when everybody's turned to stone and stuff, Dorothy sees these headless, beautiful girls, and that's when the chicken makes that crack. Oh, this is no time to lose your head. Like, shut up, chicken. Erica hates the chicken. That's where she got the heads from, was these beautiful dancing girls. She's like, oh, I like those heads. Add them to my collection. But what's interesting, the production design in this movie was really well done. Like, the whole castle is mirrors. And you know what I said about mirrors? I'm always looking at mirrors. I didn't see the crew at all.
Not once.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. They do mention that the dancing girls outside is where... I mean, but I didn't see that many dancing girls to be 30 heads, so I don't know if there's like...
Neither was it.
That's just part of it.
She had to have more of a collection than that.
We're probably talking too deeply about this anyway.
We always do.
This is a very small
That's why
part
we
of it.
started a podcast. So here's the shot where Dorothy goes into the Hall of Heads. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah, I got it.
Very unsettling.
It's a nice bedroom.
Fancy.
Yeah, fancy. Oh, yeah, I see him now. Oh, man. They're
See
all
why this-
blonde?
No, I think she has a couple brunettes in there.
Probably most of them are blonde, though,
Yeah. It looks
She
like
had a
most of
type.
them are blonde. Yeah.
She had a type for her own head.
I'm definitely impressed with how they did the special effects with that.
Yeah.
I read some reviews on IMDb of people being like, the special effects are crap, and I'm like,
Not really.
I think you're just not comparing it to what we had available to us at the time.
For 1986, this is groundbreaking. Did
Yeah.
you get to the point where her head comes off?
Yeah, she just took it
Yeah.
off.
So
And
like
she's-
now we can see the seam where it's cut out and stuff.
Yeah, when she places it down.
But
on
that
the,
was well done.
Yeah, that was well done. Yeah,
They had to do body doubles and things like that, like in
Yeah,
order to do
and
it
again,
right.
like
yeah.
the film, the actual physical film and shooting would have hid that seam, because now we got digital, we got crystal clear images, but
Yeah, they were very clever on how they
Yeah.
hid the seams, because part of the seam is hidden in the clothing.
okay.
It goes across her body. That's where the seam is
Yeah.
cut. And then she is actually sitting there in
the-
this weird piece of clothing as her
Yeah.
head. And then it lifts up, and then she's back as herself.
Yeah.
It's really well done, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we haven't mentioned yet, but this Mombi, Princess Witch Mombi, is the woman who is the assistant to the psychiatrist doctor who was doing the
same
electric
actress.
electric shock therapy.
Yeah, and that
So
also
it's
calls
tie-ins
back.
to the real world.
Yeah,
Yes.
it calls back to the 1939 film, because Judy Garland says, and you were there, and you were there. They were all the cast of
Yeah.
characters. That's why it's possibly a dream. So it's interesting how they had that connection too.
But the psychiatrist, was he the Nome King? I
don't know.
I didn't actually check to see if their faces were the same.
I didn't look that deep
Of course, the
into
Nome
it.
King had a lot of makeup on, and the doctor had
Yeah.
none. But
But I mean, like the production design and the costumes in this movie were really well done. Like Mombi's outfit, like she could put out an eye. She's got like these blades coming off of the back of her. It looks really intense and metal.
yeah, I'm surprised we didn't have reported injuries from that. It looked really.
They didn't tell us
It
back in
looked
them days.
dangerous. It did look
tell us.
cool. It did look really cool, but it looked dangerous.
So this movie was nominated for Best Special Effects at the time, but it lost to the movie Cocoon. You know Cocoon.
I haven't actually seen it yet, but I do know what I know.
I'm
what
pretty
you're
sure that
talking
was
about, yeah.
what's his name? Andy Griffith Show. I think it was his director.
Andy Griffith.
Ron
Howard.
Ron Howard.
Yep,
I think that was Ron Howard's film.
I'm like, oh, Andy Griffith.
Yeah, it was Ron Howard.
No, Erica.
Oh,
Yeah,
also
I've seen Cocoon,
for these 1986 movies, also the first woman nomination in this category also took place this year. So Suzanne M. Benson was nominated for her special effects work in Aliens.
Oh.
Yeah,
But she worked on this film too.
No.
Oh, that's just a bit of like
Just a-
feminist
A bit of
The,
film
the
trivia.
effects in this movie were done by Will Vinton. At least he did a lot of the claymation. So like that was really groundbreaking for the time. It was really well done. Let's talk briefly about Ozma. So Ozma does come back. The blonde girl who rescued her in the beginning, that was Ozma, the rightful queen of Oz. She's been trapped in a mirror by the queen, by Mombi, and she needs to escape. And the only way she can escape is get to the end of the movie. That's literally it. It's just like, Dorothy, help me out of the mirror. And she like touches the mirror and she comes through. She's like, hey, thanks for helping me, babe. Like, you know, what? How did you, okay, she didn't say babe, but I just felt like I needed something.
Well, all you had to do was touch the mirror and then you're out.
She touched the mirror and then she was out and she's like, hey, thanks. All right, you should go home now. I think
I'm the rightful queen of Oz, so your chopped liver, go home.
Yeah. So Ozma is interesting. She is also a character from the books. She's the rightful ruler of Oz.
Question though, how did she help her in the beginning?
That's a great question. That's a great question. My feeling is it's narrative excuses. I don't think we know why. And maybe if that was her, then you have to assume Oz is real. But if we assume that Dorothy is creating these scenarios with characters she's seen in her real world, the assistant to the doctor, people in her life, maybe she just assumed that the girl who saved her was this secret princess and she created the story. So, I mean, that leads credence to both sides of it, that it's either fake or it's real.
Well, then did she drown in the river?
I don't know. I don't remember seeing her at the end of the movie.
Girl?
That's concerning.
Okay.
Well, we just ignore
She
death
never
and
came back
destruction.
in real life then.
Yeah.
All right.
There was a couple things that didn't gel well with this movie. Like Jack Pumpkinhead asks Dorothy, "Can I call you Mom?" And she's like, "Sure."
I did think that was a strange choice.
I didn't like that.
What?
She's like 12.
Is that from a book? Is that from the book?
I don't know. I couldn't find it. But
Yeah.
Ozma is the one who created him. So he's thinking Ozma's like 14 in this story. She's a little bit older girl, but ageless, like an elf or something.
Trapped in a mirror.
Yeah, so she's ageless, so she's not really a child, I guess. I don't know. There's some weird things happening here.
Yeah.
But she created him, gave him life. So she's Mom. Still weird.
Yeah.
Still weird.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting that Jack Pumpkinhead reappears in The Nightmare Before Christmas as basically the same exact character, and I don't know
Similar?
if Tim Burton gave them money for using that character,
Oh, I highly doubt it.
or if he just
say it's
poached
like,
it.
he could say it's like a common thought, like Santa Claus wearing a red suit. Or,
But the character's name is Jack, right?
Yeah,
in
but
Nightmare
Jack
Before
Skellington.
Christmas.
Jack Skellington.
Oh, so he's a different last
But
name.
he's the Pumpkin King.
He's the Pumpkin King, but he's still a
So
skeleton.
it's still, yeah.
I don't know. There could be
Okay.
inspirations done. I mean, it
Yeah.
was... The movie came out at the right time. It was 1986, so he could have gotten some inspiration from it.
No, he definitely did.
Yeah. It was
It's-
dark and spooky and fantastical the way he would do things.
And I read about it.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
well,
That
damn.
he took, So I just didn't know if it was like, oh, I'm paying you for this character, or if he just
Erica
like
did better
stole the
notice.
idea and like
Yeah.
changed it a little. I mean, I
No, I
don't have all the information.
I don't either. I do, however, have this quote that I really appreciated. So TikTok, the metal man, the metal soldier, he has an advertisement on him that says, once you wind him up, he'll last for 1,000 years. Jack's like, well, that's clearly not true because he's wound down already. So periodically throughout the movie, she has to wind him up again so he can think. Otherwise, his brain goes haywire. So at one point,
He's a thinking one.
he has a thinking one and
He
a
has a
action one to move his arms and stuff.
speaking one and an action
Yeah.
one. So he has
So-
three
Three winders.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
he's
can't
like,
think of the
like
word.
the key winders
like
you see in the back. Yeah.
gears. Yeah.
So at one point he starts going haywire and talking gobbledygook, and Jack's like, "Wait, if his brains ran down, how can he talk?" And Dorothy says this, and she's spitting fire right here. "It happens to people all the time, Jack." I mean, that was good. That was a good observation on the human race right there. when Dorothy and the chicken see all the headless statues, she's like, "We come here to see a bunch of stiffs?" And Dorothy says, "Look, Belina, these ones have lost their heads." And Belina says, "Well, now that's what I call just plain carelessness." I'm like, what? I didn't mean to.
This is what I'm talking about. I was so mad. Dumb chicken.
I wonder
This chicken.
who made that decision.
I
to
looked
have
up
the chicken.
I looked up the chicken's voice actor. She didn't do a lot. She did a couple little things here and there, a couple voices and some other things, but she didn't have a huge career. So who knows? Maybe she just.
I mean, she was being fed the lines she was supposed to say. I don't want to blame the actor for this.
I
but
will say, however, because the chicken moves when it talks and stuff, the
Yeah.
chicken puppet is really well made. Like it looks
I
like a real
agree.
chicken.
I
Yeah?
agree. Yeah.
It looks really good.
As far as the puppetry goes.
Yeah, I have to
Is well
picture
done.
that.
The eyes
Yeah.
blink. The eyes blink. The head moves. Every part of it like articulates, and she has to carry it around. And it talks and stuff. And it was the chicken puppet was well made, and occasionally they replace it with a real chicken. You could tell because pecking at the ground doesn't give a crap. I also found out that this movie, now obviously a lot of people thought this movie was disturbing because the art style it's kind of Tim Burton-esque, which is weird because it came first. But yeah, it's dark, but it's also fantastical. So a lot of adults thought it was too disturbing for children. When it aired on the Disney Channel, a bunch of pieces of the movie were cut out that they thought was too upsetting. So when Ozma unties Dorothy from the bed where she's going to be electrocuted, they cut that out, but they also cut out the part where they said there's screaming patients in the cellar. When Dorothy visits Mombi, a lot of it's cut out, like the shots of the heads behind the glass are cut, and also when she puts on her head, and also a line where she asks Dorothy about her looks because she's going to replace her head with hers. Every shot of the headless Mombi is cut, and a few seconds of the Nome King is cut because he's turning from stone to human or human to stone, and I guess they thought that was concerning. And also the point where they poison him was partly cut. So it sounds like they gutted this movie to put it on TV.
Like, that seems like the major points you just take out.
Literally all of it. Like, if you cut out, like, her untying from the bed, it doesn't make any sense. How does she get free?
Yeah. And then the whole head thing, you think that's like a major part of that person's character. Like, what?
And it wasn't bloody or anything.
Yeah.
But they thought that was too upsetting for children.
I always think those choices are interesting.
Yeah. It
well,
was
when did
interesting.
this movie come out again?
1986.
86, yeah.
Yeah, like, that wouldn't have been, I don't know.
I think they should have given kids a little bit more credit.
Yeah.
There's a very famous thing. Actually, I shouldn't mention him. We don't like him anymore.
Like the Goonies. And not,
The
like,
Goonies.
That's what I'm thinking.
they had stuff like the
There's
Goonies
the Dark
out,
Crystal,
like,
Labyrinth.
Dark Crystal,
Yes.
all
Labyrinth
that.
was terrifying to me as a kid, but I still watched it.
Yeah, like.
Yeah, a lot of the kids find things disturbing that are not necessarily disturbing to an adult, but they get over it.
I do think that Return to Oz would have upset me as a kid, but not necessarily for the reasons that for like the things that they cut out of it.
No, okay.
Yeah, I think if
know.
I was a kid, I would have really liked this.
Yeah. I think, because even as a kid, there were dark things, dark movies that I liked.
Yeah, it's like Never-Ending Story. Oh my god, that's scary.
Yeah,
there's one part in particular.
Story.
Yeah,
It's with the horse, right?
yeah, with the horse Atreyu and all that. Yeah, like.
That ruined a lot of people's childhoods. See, that's
The gut-wrenching part.
but should it have not happened? Like, should have been cut away so we don't see it?
No.
I don't know.
Part of life. I don't know.
Yeah, it's real life. Yeah,
It was about growing up, basically.
Exactly. Yeah.
I tend to think that kids can handle more than a lot of people think.
They give them credit for.
But I appreciate that, age-appropriate stuff, too. Like, I get why people have that concern.
Yeah.
For sure. But
I mean, overall, I could still see this movie as kid-friendly. I mean, a lot of it's very goofy. Like, they assemble a flying thing. I don't know what to call it. They put, like, a moose head on the front.
it's like two chaise lounges,
two chaise
stuck
lounges.
together to create a little...
And then they put these, like,
Carriage.
fan palms on the side to act as wings. And then they sprinkle the life powder, and it comes to life, and the moose talks and stuff. And he's like... Gump. He's a Gump. He's a green moose. He looks a little different. He's definitely like a puppet. He
He's
looks
very
like,
cute.
very muppety.
I like him.
He's kind of fun. So at one point he's like, I wish I was still ahead. Like this is not good for me. I don't know if I can carry all of you.
He's not sure about all that.
He's not. He's like, wow, my previous life, it wasn't as exciting as this. Like, he was actually pretty funny.
Yeah.
But this movie didn't do well at the box office. So the budget,
Just like the original.
like a lot of originals, really. So is that even a judge of merit? But it was a $25 million film, and it made 2.8 US and 11 worldwide.
Woof.
So it didn't make its money. But, I mean, it gained a cult following, I think, after it was played on TV. I don't see how, since they gutted the film.
Yeah.
But, like, looking up the ratings on IMDb, it's a 6.8 out of 10. So people liked this movie still. That's a good rating. 58% tomato meter, which is the critics. 71% popcorn, which is audience. That's on Rotten Tomatoes. So the audience obviously likes it better than the critics. I mean, critically, it's not a great movie. The production design is great. The costumes are great. The story, it's a little nonsensical. A lot of things just sort of happen. But for a kid's movie, that's kind of how they go.
Oh, yeah.
I think I have the numbers for The Wiz, too, which I can put into that one. Let me
Yeah,
see.
I don't think we went over the numbers for The Wiz.
So for The Wiz, the IMDb rating was a 5.6 out of 10. That's rough.
Yeah.
I didn't put the Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh.
And I didn't put the budget.
There it is.
Hold on, I can get you the budget real quick.
Yay, you got
Hey, coming in with the assist.
this guy. Like, come on.
You be careful. We're going to have you on all the
I
time.
know, right? We're just signing our friends up. If they suggest a movie, we're like, and you signed yourself up for an episode.
Okay, so 24 million estimated budget.
Okay.
Gross in the U.S. and Canada is just over 21 million.
Ooh, okay.
And yeah, it's about the same as worldwide.
Yeah, I wonder what the critical
yeah,
response
that's
was at the
21.
time for The Wiz, but I don't know.
I don't think The Wiz came out to very good reviews,
think so,
critically or otherwise.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
don't know why these stories seem to just be like maybe slow burns. Because even with The Wizard of Oz from 1939, it didn't do that great at the box office either. But then several years later, they would, have occasional showings of it in theaters. And then when television was
Yeah.
more common, then they showed it on television.
Yeah.
And,
And then
at
it-
one point, they had 45 million people tune in just to see Wizard of Oz on
Yeah,
television.
because
Oh, right.
wasn't it a thing either during, I think, Thanksgiving or Christmas where people would watch it?
They would usually show it on the holidays, so they
Yeah.
started showing it every
Exactly.
year. Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
I definitely have seen it on TV, usually around Christmas time.
yeah.
Yeah, so the story itself, I
Perennial.
don't think is like a very super strongly woven plot. To be honest, like to me, I'm like it doesn't feel like a super strong story, but there is something about it that people really connect with,
Right.
And that has like gained such a following around all this time, over all this time.
And to have multiple adaptations.
Yes.
I think this is probably a good time to mention like some of the other adaptations that took place. Like, have you guys ever heard of the TV show Tin Man?
I've heard of it, but I've never seen it.
Okay. Sci-Fi Channel original series is when they first, I feel like it's when they first started doing original series. Around that time, they also did Earthsea, Ursula K. Le Guin.
What?
I don't know how to say her name. They did an Earthsea series. Do you know Earthsea?
Earthsea?
Yeah.
Earthsea?
Earthsea. Yeah, that's the
The
word.
letter C
No, Earth and sea is like an ocean.
as one word.
I'm getting stuck here. Yes.
Earth.
Anyway,
I think I
I'm not
remember
familiar
that.
with it. I'm learning.
And to that, we're talking about Tin Man. Okay. So,
Oh, you brought the DVD.
and yeah, I got the DVD
Show
back
it
in
to
the
the
day.
camera.
Oh yeah, so like here's my camera now. So
Now,
this is
it's
from
a series.
This is a series. I think it's like I don't remember how many episodes they did back in the day. It's probably 3 episodes, 4 episodes. This was in 2007. Now, in this time around the mid 2000s, I feel like they felt like they had to modernize everything.
Oh,
I
yeah.
feel like we've very much
Yeah.
come back from that now, and
Yeah,
we like
definitely.
simplicity now. But in this show,
definitely.
Dorothy is DG. That's her name.
Dorothy Gale.
Dorothy Gale, but she's
Okay.
DG.
Here's my
The
DG.
Tin Man is basically an ex-cop. The lion is just this really rough-looking guy. I don't think
Oh,
he's a
I know
lion.
Neil
I think he's
McDonough.
just
Okay.
homeless. I'm not sure. Yeah, Neil McDonough's great.
He's this guy.
Yes.
That's the Tin Man?
Yeah, he's a Tin Man. He's not made of tin, but they call him a Tin Man because he's so cold-hearted. Hey-oh.
Wow.
And
I
the
was like, it's
Scarecrow
not
is a
clear.
fella who
Oh
literally
my
had his
God.
brain zapped and he has like a zipper in his head. So it's really kind of dark and spooky. The wizard is definitely on a lot of drugs. Like it's a ride.
That sounds like a
I was
ride.
mostly mad about Toto though, because Toto's a man.
It's 3 parts.
man.
Toto's a guy. He was her tutor when she was a child, so she always mispronounced it and called him Toto. It's Tutor.
Oh, wow.
He turns into a dog though, if that's any consolation. But what I really didn't care
These
for.
flying monkeys look like bats.
Yeah, so the witch is this very busty lady, and
Kathleen Robertson. I recognize her
Oh,
face,
Yeah.
but I didn't know her name until I read it on the case.
She has these tattoos on her chest in a very interesting position. The tattoos come to life and they're the flying monkeys. So literally she unleashes her boobs and the flying monkeys come out. I don't know how they got away with this stuff. I do not know. It's a trip.
You said it was in the
2007, yeah.
Okay, yeah.
It's very 2007.
That's
But, you know, in
still
some ways it was kind of cool that they tried, you know?
Yeah.
There's a lot of strange choices made, but they tried.
Yes,
So
at
that
least
was
they
a
tried.
early Sci-Fi Channel original series. Have you guys seen or heard of the 2013 movie with James Franco, Oz the Great and
Yeah.
Powerful?
I saw like previews of it, but I never went
Yeah,
and actually
that's
saw
okay.
because that's like the story of the wizard.
It's like
or
how the
whatever.
wizard got to Oz and how he got
Yeah.
established.
That's one of the. Is
Yeah.
that name of one of the books?
It might be. It might be, but I don't know how much they took from the books, but it was Sam Raimi who directed the Spider-Man movies. This is soon after, relatively, actually no, it was 2013. It was a while after. But he got James Franco to be Oz, and he is hamming it up.
I'm not sure about that choice.
It is a 100%
like
green
James.
screen movie. It is so green screen, it's almost offensive. But the worst part about it, because there's some cute things about it. There's like a little China girl that follows him around, little girl made of China, like a little statue. She's very cute, very independent. She's probably the best part of the movie. But the worst part is the witch. And everyone agrees with me.
Oh.
The witch is played by Mila Kunis from that 70s show.
Yeah.
I know who she is.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
just trying to imagine her.
It doesn't work. They introduce her.
Like, there's a reason you can't
They
imagine
introduce
that.
her as this character. You don't know it's her yet. You don't know it's going to be this person, but she's in a beautiful red outfit with a beautiful hat, and she's falling in love with him. It's very cute. It's very sweet. At some point, he breaks her heart. Oh, no. And then she turns evil because a man said no to her. I am so angry at that still.
If you switch the genders on that.
It's so wrong. No matter what
It's
you
not
do.
okay.
She literally
It's not
turns
okay either
evil
way.
because a
Because
man
of
didn't
the-
like her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not like he didn't like her; he just didn't love her. I guess I don't know.
Yeah.
She got jealous of Glinda. I watched some clips
Glinda?
last night. Yeah, I don't.
Glinda and Oz are together?
Look, none of it makes sense. It was a very misstep of a movie.
This
and
sounds like a drinking game opportunity.
Most definitely.
coming up next week. We might have to do that with Kira because she'll be a blast.
Bonus
Oh my
episode.
gosh.
You mean Takira?
Kira. Our friend Kira, when she goes to Erica's shows, when Erica's playing,
And she drinks tequila.
she drinks the tequila, and she is the biggest fan of Erica. She's just like, oh, wow!
And that's who we call Takira.
Kira. She's a blast to watch movies
Yeah,
with,
we'll
too.
meet her.
So, anyway, it was just a big misstep, and I feel like that's why it took us a while to get to the point where we have the Wicked movie, where they poured so much money and resources and time and care into it that I think it was a really good movie. Like, I enjoyed it. It's a long movie. It's like almost 3 hours long.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, but it's a musical.
And it's
Yeah,
from the stage,
exactly.
just like with The Wiz,
Yeah.
it's like that was a musical on Broadway.
Yeah.
It's very much a
it's-
new adaptation, but it's also harkening back to a lot of the classic stuff. I feel like they're not afraid of it anymore.
Well, and it has its own book to be
Yeah.
adapted from.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah,
is a
adapted from the
whole
book.
it's such a I'm sure it's not the first book that was written this way, but it's like you're taking a classic piece of literature and you're like taking a whole other character's perspective and telling their side of the story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I think is a really interesting way to I
Yeah.
guess maybe that's still fan fiction in the end.
It's essentially fan fiction, but it was published, so it's
But-
legit.
And it was a really good book. I read the book. It was
okay.
really good. I
still
have
need
not
to-
seen the musical.
I still need to
Yeah.
read the book, yeah.
But I really liked the book.
My first experience was just in the movie theater about a month ago, and I want to just watch it through and then maybe read the book afterward.
Yeah.
But I just love that they did a different interpretation, and they keep some classic elements, and they update some things, and you really feel sympathy for these characters. And I was very surprised that I liked Ariana Grande in this movie, because I was expecting to hate her in this movie.
Yeah.
She's the reason I haven't seen it yet.
I actually thought she did a really good job. Honestly, she's playing a vapid valley girl. It's perfect. She literally just says stuff with these big eyes, and it's like, oh, she says it so earnestly. Like,
So it's just
it's well done. I will say she did a really
Yeah.
good job, and you just love to hate her.
Well, and the main character, the actor who plays the main character, she is like very, very skilled.
Oh my goodness,
And she's from the stage too, right? Like she's done a lot of like.
I don't know offhand. I was about to Google it, and I forgot I don't have Wi-Fi.
The only thing I've seen her in myself was an episode of Broad City.
Oh, well, there you go. Broad City again.
But I mean,
Cynthia Erivo.
Cynthia, yeah.
Cynthia, yeah,
I mean, she's got some pipes. They both do, honestly. They're beautiful.
yeah.
They do a really good job. But yeah, so I mean, this is basically The Wizard of Oz is a story that's been made and remade and readapted and relooked at multiple times. It's still relevant, even over 100 years later.
Yeah,
This movie-
125 years
This
now.
story is 125 years old.
It was originally published in 1900, and now it's 2025.
That's crazy. Cool. We'll see what else we could beat a dead horse with. I think A Christmas Carol is the next. Not our next episode.
What?
We'll save that for Christmas. But A Christmas Carol is one of the most adapted stories. There's like 30 movies.
Is Wicked,
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Up for any Oscars?
Yeah, it won.
I bet it is.
It won, I think.
No.
Oh, no.
No, they haven't done Oscars this year yet.
Oh, what did it win? It won an Academy Award. Did one of these happen yet? Maybe it was nominated.
Maybe the Golden Globes, I think, or the Emmys happened.
It's one of those. I can't.
But no,
I'm just
interested because Cynthia Erivo, she's won a Daytime Emmy, a Grammy, and a Tony.
Oh my God.
She's only one away from getting an EGOT.
Oh my
She's
gosh.
close.
That's an Oscar.
I bet she'll do it at
If
some
she's
point. If
nominated
it's not for this.
an Oscar this year,
That's great.
that would be interesting.
Good for her. Go
Yeah.
Cynthia.
Yeah.
Well,
Rooting for you.
we're rooting for you. So I think that's all we have. You want to do the obligatory sign-off stuff?
Yes.
Okay. Well, thank you guys for joining us.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you for your
for
time,
coming.
Tony.
Yes,
we
definitely.
appreciate
Thank you
you.
for hanging out with us.
Yeah, I had a good time. Definitely
Great.
love to come and talk more movies.
Oh yeah,
I would love that.
We'll sign you up for that.
Do you have anything you want to plug?
Yeah,
your own
let's
work?
hear it.
Well,
I know
I
you
guess,
do. You do one of these.
Yes, we do a podcast that Bridget has been on before.
I have.
Our T-Stop T-Talk with me and Marco Gutierrez. We just kind of shoot the shit and talk about films. We talk about
Like
camera
updates and
gear,
things.
updates,
Yeah.
just goings on in the industry,
Yeah.
all that type of stuff. So we get tea because Marco has a crap ton of tea.
He does. He has the most tea I've ever
He's
seen.
got a whole tea cart with all different kinds. So
You mean
we
like
just-
hot tea?
Yeah,
like
like a
bag
hot
tea
tea,
bags,
yeah,
yeah.
tea bags, yeah.
He's got every tea
yeah.
you've ever seen.
Yeah, and so we call it Tea Stop Tea Talk because we talk about our teas, but we also talk about the tea of the industry.
I mean, it's a perfect
So
segue.
it is a perfect name, yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
So we do that. It comes out weekly.
Yeah, I've been enjoying it, and I was on it. So,
Exactly, yeah.
and then, do you have any socials you want to send out about yourself, or just
yeah.
if you can find me, then hire me?
Yeah, yes, please hire me. Any drone work you need, you know who to call. Elite Aerials. Look up that Elite Aerials.
He's the guy. He's the guy that you always hear about.
Yes,
He's the guy.
Exactly, yeah.
All right, cool. Well,
yeah.
thank you so much, Tony, for being here. This is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And this also is y'all's first time. Well,
Yeah.
how many episodes have y'all done
This
so
is
far?
gonna be for recording wise. This is our sixth.
This is number
episode.
6, yeah.
But we have 3 that are live on Spotify right now.
Okay. And then
This
the
is our first video.
First video.
It's
Yeah.
your first video.
Yeah. So what y'all think? Y'all want to do more video? Well, you could do it with like more toned down.
Yeah.
setup.
Oh, he's making because we did production design.
What do you mean? You don't like our energy?
Yeah, he's right.
Is
He's
it too
absolutely
much?
Right.
We may have
We
gone
went
a
above and
touch.
beyond.
I like it.
It's
Oh, yeah,
fun.
but y'all like it?
It was fun. Yeah, we'll have to see if we
Yeah.
can keep this up.
I think I'll have to
Yeah.
see the result first.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah. Well, yeah.
do it again.
Because filming it is one thing, but
Yeah.
because I cut together all because my podcast is a video podcast
Yeah.
only, so I'm shooting and editing. So
Yeah, it's a lot of
it's
work.
fun when it's shooting, but once you get in the editing booth and you're trying to cut back and forth, it's like,
Yeah.
oh my god.
That's why we're all
did I have
camera
these
people.
angles?
That's why we're all camera people. I get to shoot the stuff and then I hand it off to somebody else I often never see and say, "Good luck
Exactly.
making a story out of that."
I will shoot all
Okay, it's
day.
not
I
that
just
bad. All right.
But-
Yeah, as for our show, you can find us at Lights Camera Remake Podcast on Instagram and on Spotify, Lights Camera Remake Podcast. And we sure could use some more subscribers, some
Subscribe,
ratings,
please.
some reviews. If you all have enjoyed, we would really appreciate it.
And share with your friends. Like, sharing literally is caring. And the more people that listen to us, the more you're going to make us do more. So I'm okay with this. I'm watching more movies.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Always a fun time watching movies.
Yeah, I still enjoy it. Even if I watch a bad movie, it's not a bad time.
Oh no, not at all.
Well, there's still stuff to be learned from it.
Sure.
And sometimes the bad
Exactly.
movies are, the
They teach you
funnest
more
ride.
than they teach you more than the good movies.
That's yes,
Honestly,
absolutely.
yeah. So sometimes it's really fun to dig into something you really don't like, but you're at the same time realizing, okay, I wouldn't put the camera there. I wouldn't do it this way. I wouldn't
Yeah.
have them say the line this way.
Yeah.
So
There's
it's a learning
there's
experience.
this old 80s film called Miami Connection, and it's, as far as production goes, it's terrible. It's absolutely terrible, but I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
Can't get enough of this film. It's
All right.
about a band
Okay.
of like ninjas, basically. and they're like fighting like cocaine crime lords in Florida.
Oh my god, I'm already signed up.
And the girl who sings in the band, the woman who sings with the band, her brother is one of the like drug lords.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god.
And he's like so mad that she's like dating the bass player. It's like a whole thing. And like,
This sounds like an amazing time.
You had this on VHS, I
the-
imagine.
yeah,
Okay.
naturally.
Naturally.
But the first time I ever saw it, it was streaming, and I was watching it with a couple of friends, and we were just like, "What is happening right now? This is amazing."
Oh my god.
So anyway, just bad
I'll
movies.
definitely have to look that one up.
It's
Miami
like
Connection.
production value doesn't. I mean, ultimately, if you have something that's entertaining, it doesn't have to be something that's really sparkly and
Yeah.
polished.
I mean, maybe you
So,
should see
make that movie.
Yeah, honestly, make the movie, even if it's bad.
You might be
Your first
making
movie will
someone's
be bad.
favorite.
Your first movie absolutely will be bad. Or it'll be Velocipaster. So,
Also, Pastor.
have you seen it? Oh my gosh,
I don't think
it's
I've
recent.
heard of that one.
It's recent. They made it to look like a B movie, and there's a spot where there's a point where a car blows up, but they don't have the budget, so they put a black screen. It says "Add VFX of car blowing up." And then the guy goes, "No!" It's really bad. It's great.
Oh, that sounds fun.
All right, that's it. Let's cut it.
Okay.
Let's be done. We did enough.
We forgot something important.
Yeah, we're not good with continuity right now.
Did you want to keep that there, or has it been there?
It's been there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's part of set dressing.
Yeah, I like it. Okay.
All right, so for The Wiz, normally we ask, we compare an original and its remake or an original and its sequel. This time we have two that are not the original. We're going to talk about both of them. Should they have been made? I know it's a dangerous question, but should The Wiz have been made? Does it have merits? Should it exist for a reason? Or
Who do you
Or
want to
what?
go first?
I'm going to put it on him.
I don't know. That's an interesting question because in American culture, the African American doesn't have that much representation in
Right.
media, especially back
In the
then,
70s.
in the 70s and all
Yeah.
that. So I can see them taking a piece of literature and trying to put their own spin on it to try to give some merit. But I don't know. Because, I mean, of course, it was the first film for Michael Jackson. So
Right.
without this,
It exists in history in a sense.
it was the film that he met Quincy Jones on, which would then go on to birth things like Thriller
Oh,
and
wow.
all his other works. So if this film hadn't been made and they didn't meet, and who knows, they maybe would have met in different circumstances or
Yeah, you
but-
never know.
Yeah.
but as it is, this is how they met. So I don't know. It's just hard to gauge.
Yeah, I mean, we're not
If-
trying to put too much pressure. A lot of
Yeah.
times we'll kind of like a movie
it-
and say it
yeah.
didn't necessarily need to be made. Like for example, George Clooney's Solaris. We didn't
Yeah.
need that movie, but it was decent enough movie, but not popular, and the original serves its purpose. Other times we watch a silly movie like Weekend at Bernie's too, and I like it, and it's not a good movie.
Yeah.
It's not, but I like it. And did it deserve to be made? Maybe
Yeah.
not, but I still liked it, so
Yeah.
maybe it does deserve to be made.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had complicated
it
feelings
is
about this movie.
Yeah, it's an interesting one to think
Yeah.
about. There's like things on both ends where yes, it could be made or it deserved to be made because this reason, but then it was like, did it really need to be made because I guess it came from a story that really wasn't popular, well, to begin with, because you said, well, when the book came out, because that was the first iteration of
Yeah,
the
the
story of
book.
the book, right? Was that popular?
It must have
or-
been. Yeah, the book was popular.
The book was
The
a
popular-
bestseller for 2 years in a row
Yeah.
Okay.
when it was
So then-
released.
okay.
Yeah, the book was popular. The Judy Garland movie wasn't popular right away. I think it eventually found its audience.
Yeah, I mean, it still catapulted her as a star.
Yeah.
But it wasn't the hit they thought it was going to
movie
be.
itself, yeah. So,
Yeah. No, I mean, I have complicated feelings about the movie because there were points where I just felt like I was sitting there for a long time waiting for something to happen.
Yeah.
But I do think that, like you said, it belongs in a piece of history, and it
Yeah.
probably opened the eyes of some other creators and stuff that said, oh, maybe I can make my interpretation of something.
Yeah.
So I think it exists for a reason in that sense. I do think they could have done a better movie, honestly, overall. But for 1978, I think that was pretty ambitious already. So
Yeah.
maybe I need to give them credit for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, my take is yes.
Yeah,
On The Wiz. I feel
That was an
like
easy one.
Yeah.
well, and it's not without, I certainly have my own criticisms of the film, but
Yeah.
I think overall it's an important piece of cultural history, and I think it was, one piece of a tapestry of, African American art and culture, and in that way it feels like it's important.
In that sense, it really made its mark.
Yeah,
Because we're still talking about it.
exactly.
Like a lot of people have heard of it, at least.
and a lot
at
of
the very
people really
least.
do love it, and I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
that's
Makes sense.
I'm glad I've seen it.
Yeah, I'm glad I finally saw it too, honestly. And just like seeing Diana Ross like dancing down the
She
road,
is-
okay,
it made me
she's-
so happy.
She is 33 doing this, but
Yeah.
she is spry. I mean, she might be too old for that role technically, but as far as physical movement, like she was on it, I think.
Yeah.
Like seeing her dance all the way down the hill,
Yeah.
I'm like,
Man,
I'm like, I'd be
dance in
so
circles.
Yeah,
tired.
it was funny because I thought when they first got to the main yellow brick road, I kept asking myself, I was like, is that a matte painting? Are they actually going to
Yeah.
dance? And
Yeah.
actually, I was surprised
And they
that they
actually
realized
went
that
up
it
it.
was an actual full set.
Them dancing
Like
up the
that-
road was actually one of the
Yeah.
highlights for me. It
Yeah.
was great.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know what? It really deserved to be made.
Yeah.
And I always feel like icky saying deserve. I don't know how else to put it. Someday I'll figure this out for our podcast, how we should say it. But
Yeah.
did it need to be made? Yeah, I mean, it served a purpose.
Anyone with a helpful suggestion can email us about that.
You can email us at
Don't email us.
lightscameraremake@gmail.com.
Don't email me about how Neumeyer's name is pronounced. I had a list I started of things not to email me about.
all the stuff we mispronounce.
Oh, and Lady RoboCop sequel information. That's the other thing not to email us about.
Oh wow, okay. I didn't know. We'll update that list as we go.
I'm keeping it, I'm keeping a rolling list here.
Okay.
So, Return to Oz.
Yes.
I know we didn't ask you to watch that one, but I mean, you can chime in if you want. I ended up liking it. I thought it was a decent kids movie. So, yeah, I think it deserved its place to be made. I think a lot of people calling it a fever dream and stuff like that might have been a little dramatic. I don't think it was quite as horrifying for children as they think.
The IMDb reviews, a lot of them were pretty dramatic. Like, people
Yeah.
are polarized on that film.
Yeah.
I think it deserves to be. I think it deserves to have been made though, also because it's a different part of the story, and it's one where they're trying to preserve the original vision of the story too,
Yeah.
from the book. So I appreciate that, and I think Farouja Balk did a great job.
Yeah, she was Dorothy.
Yeah. So, yeah, I say yes on both of these films.
Okay. That's new. I like this. All right. Well,
I'm just feeling positive.
we're gonna
today. I don't know.
we're gonna find some more interesting movies to talk about. Who knows what might come up next? But we have an ever-growing list, and people keep making suggestions. Fair warning: if you make a suggestion and you're really excited about it and inspired, and you talk about it a lot, and you start sending us a lot of like info and trivia, you're gonna be on the episode. So keep that in mind.
Did you want to weigh in on Return to Oz?
Well,
Did you
I
see
guess,
it?
Well, no, I didn't see it, but I was
Okay.
looking at like the trailer and stuff as you were talking about it. And it looks, I mean, it's in the vein to me from what I saw just from the trailer. It's in the vein of like Labyrinth
Yeah.
or Never
Yes.
Ending Story and all that. So yeah, to me it seemed like a pretty decent kids film of the time. So yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.